Wow.
Check this out. Now here's the original. Get the full taste of all the mayhem. Isn't it kind of funny the black cat is like staring at that snake like, are you serious, bro? You're really about to try this? Like, you know how fast I am. And if you didn't notice on the first time around, the python actually gets a kitten. But then the white cat up here jumps down, pounces on it, and it lets go. Got some ride or die kitties in this pen. This freaking guy sitting quietly on the water, just fishing, enjoying what should have been a calm afternoon. Everything seems routine until the sound of an engine suddenly cuts through the silence. Before he can react, a jet ski is seen racing dead at him.
What the?
The rider doesn't slow down. In seconds, the jet ski slams directly into the side of the boat, throwing the fisherman off and sending him into the water. According to the original uploader, the driver operating the jet ski was only 13 years old. The sun had blinded him and he didn't notice the boat until the last minute. By then, it was too late to avoid the collision. Fortunately, both of them escaped the accident without serious injuries, though it could have ended very differently. I mean, this could have turned a peaceful day into, honestly, a funeral. I cannot for the life of me figure out what this is. Correct. I think it looks like a long-eared bunny too. The man that uploaded this and whose trail camera it was on said that this is entirely too far for any domesticated bunny to have ended up. And something about it looks kind of creepy. Some have said it was a skinwalker, but I don't know. What do you guys think this could be? Kayak angler Matthew launched off the coast of New Zealand expecting nothing more than a quiet session on open water. Just his kayak, some rods, and the kind of calm isolation that makes kayak fishing appealing in the first place. For a while, that's exactly what he got.
So I'm very, very stoked to get out there. We're gonna see what we can find. I've got a feeling there's gonna be some big kings around. Let's hit the water, let's go catch some fish. But I can go from 0 to 100 really quick in this style of fishing, so try and catch another bait and go from there. There we go, here's another live bait. Oh, there's schools of them. I can see a school of kahawai swimming beneath me.
He was focused on his line, reeling in fish and drifting with the swell, when the atmosphere shifted. Beneath the surface, a shadow began moving in slow, deliberate circles.
What the Great white! Great white! Great white shark! Cutting the live bait off. This, I'm out of here. Oh mate, get out of the rudder. Holy shit.
At first, it's hard to judge scale in open water, but the pattern of movement was unmistakable. This wasn't random.
Fuck me, there's a huge great white behind me. Fuck me. Fuck, he's following me. Fuck me. Leave me alone. He's still behind me. He's going at my rudder. Holy shit.
For what seemed like forever, the shark remained behind him, even hitting his rudder. From certain angles, its dorsal fin becomes visible above the surface, a stark reminder of how little separates a kayaker from whatever swims below.
Okay. I need to think of something to get him off my tail. If I throw a water bottle in the water, it might grab his attention and he might go and eat it. Oh, he's coming closer. He's right on my tail. Alright, we'll throw this water bottle. He's turned on the water bottle.
At one point, the shark appears to close the gap. Predatory behavior in great whites often includes testing movements. Brief advances followed by repositioning. He paddled harder.
Fuck, no he didn't. I thought that would work. Fuck, what can I throw overboard to get his attention? I'm not sure if he's still behind me or not. Oh yeah, he's still back there. He's about 20 meters behind me now. Fuck, he's coming closer. Fuck. I'm sorry for all the swearing, but I'm shitting bricks right now. When a great white gets to that size, its main food source is marine mammals. And I'm a marine mammal right now. Fuck, I hope he leaves me alone. I've got about 4 kilometers before I can land on a beach. I've got about an hour-long paddle before I can get anywhere on dry land. And he's still behind me, holy shit.
The distance between kayak and fin seemed to shrink and expand in waves.
I need to get in. Is he still there? I have lost sight of him. I don't like that. I've lost sight of him. Where is he? Completely lost sight of him. He could just be swimming underneath me too. Holy shit.
Eventually the shoreline grew closer. Matthew made it back shaken but uninjured.
Been off the water for a little over an hour now, and it has taken me a minute to calm down, get the adrenaline down, and just think about what just happened to me. But it has put it into perspective. You know, this is the risk that you take when you are kayak fishing or swimming or sailing or boating in general. You're going into a big animal's domain and you're stepping into their house. So you have to be respectful and you have to understand that this is sort of the risk you take.
Kayak fishing in shark territory carries inherent risk. You're low in the water, often surrounded by the scent of fish, and completely exposed. While shark encounters are statistically rare, proximity changes perspective quickly. Out there, you aren't at the top of the food chain. And when something powerful decides to follow, even curiosity feels like pursuit. I apologize, that clip did have a lot of cussing. But this was all I could think about, that guy in that kayak. This is the only vision I had of something like this happening. I felt his panic. If you really think about it, and that great white attacked that boat, he could damage it beyond repair so it sinks and Matt is just out there floating around. He could topple him over. That's enough to make me think twice about going back out there. This one freaking freaks me out. Watch this.
Alright, don't panic. I got you. I got your face. I got you. I got you. I got you. I've got you, brother.
You can hear how exasperated the guy is. I mean, thank goodness his friend was there watching. I don't know, the amount of anxiety this gave me. Ay, ay, ay.
Alright, don't panic. I got you. I got your face. I got you. I got you. I got you. I've got you, brother.
In October of 2025, a terrifying video was uploaded by a creator known as Wild Pursuit. His channel usually focuses on outdoor hobbies like magnet fishing, bird hunting, and bow hunting. But during one solo hunting trip, things nearly turned deadly. While bow hunting alone in a remote wooded area, he climbed into his tree stand and soon spotted his first doe of the season. As he drew back his bow to take the shot, he suddenly lost his balance and slipped. The fall could have been catastrophic. Because he was wearing a harness, he didn't hit the ground. Instead, he was left suspended roughly 18 feet in the air, dangling from the tree with no one nearby to help.
Yeah, there was a really big doe in front of me, and I drew on her, and then she saw me, but as I drew back, my elbow hit the tree and knocked me off balance, and I tried grabbing onto a branch that was up in the tree right next to me, and it snapped.
Eventually, he managed to call a friend for help, but being alone deep in the woods made the situation extremely dangerous. If his phone had died or he had lost consciousness, the outcome could have been far worse. Although he avoided broken bones, he suffered heavy bruising along with sprains in his hands, leg, and back. One important detail stood out afterward. His harness had been secured using a ratchet strap, which experts warned should never be used as a proper safety line. In the end, he was lucky to walk away, but the footage serves as a reminder that even routine hunting trips can turn dangerous in seconds. A short clip circulating at the beginning of the year has already sparked intense debate. The footage appears to come from residential security cameras, but the exact location hasn't been confirmed. Some reposts claim that it was from Pennsylvania, others say Ohio, South Carolina. At first the video looks completely ordinary, a quiet street at night, no movement, no activity. But when viewers slowed the footage down, something unusual appeared. A dark shape suddenly streaks across the frame at an incredible speed, almost like a shadow passing through the camera's field of view. What makes the clip more intriguing is that the same anomaly reportedly shows up on 2 different cameras from 2 separate angles. Naturally, the internet, split into 2 camps. Some viewers believe the explanation is simple. It could be a bird flying very close to the lens, or even an insect reflecting infrared light from the camera. Others aren't convinced. They argue the movement looks far too smooth and controlled to be either a bug or a bird. Instead of flapping or darting randomly, the shape appears to glide through the frame in one clean motion. That's when a more unusual theory started circulating. Some people began comparing the figure to the descriptions of the Mothman, the winged creature said to appear in legends and urban folklore before major disasters. Supporters pointed to the dark silhouette and the speed at which it crosses the camera. Skeptics quickly pushed back though. They argued the video could easily be altered or even generated using modern AI tools. After all, the original uploader hasn't been identified, which makes verifying the clip difficult. Still, believers have one lingering question. If the footage is fake, how was the same object captured from 2 different cameras at nearly the same time? Creating synchronized footage like that across separate systems wouldn't be impossible, but it would require planning and technical effort. For now, no official explanation has been given, and until one surfaces, the debate continues. This encounter comes from Under the Web, a UK solo wild camping channel known for documenting winter bushcraft and realistic overnight survival conditions. The setting is a remote riverside woodland somewhere in the United Kingdom. Heavy rain has turned the ground to mud, forcing the camper to stay inside his tent earlier than planned. A waterfall nearby runs continuously, creating a steady wall of white noise that blankets the entire campsite. In one sense it's peaceful, in another it's a problem. Constant background sound can easily conceal approaching footsteps. Inside the tent he settles into a new winter sleeping bag, switches off his light, and prepares for the night. He makes it clear that his camp sits between 2 branches of the river, effectively forming a small island. Once darkness sets in, leaving isn't simple. Crossing cold bodies of water in the middle of the night isn't exactly an option. Then the quiet shifts.
Hello? 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 Now the thing is, I'm kind of on an island here, so there's river on that side, river on that side. It's very hard to get down here if it was a human, that is. Hello? I've got a knife in here. I've got a knife. I've got a knife.
Voices, laughter, close enough to hear clearly but impossible to locate. He immediately calls out, trying to confirm whether someone is actually nearby, but no reply. The voices stop as abruptly as they began. More sounds follow not long after. He reiterates the layout of his position. Surrounded by water, thick woodland, no obvious path in. Logically, anyone approaching would have to cross one of the rivers or make enough noise to be detected. Yet what he's hearing suggests the opposite. He acknowledges the reality of the situation. Alone, minimal gear, a knife is his only means of protection, and no practical exit in the dark.
Hello? Jesus Christ. That. Hello? Did that noise again? It sounds like somebody laughing outside, but
By morning, daylight shows nothing unusual. No footprints, no displaced gear. The fire has died overnight from the rain, but otherwise the camp appears untouched. No visible proof that anyone had been there at all. And that is really throwing him for a loop. There's no confrontation, no evidence, just the experience of hearing human voices when, by all logic, there shouldn't be anyone within reach. For anyone who's camped alone, this scenario hits close. Not because something was seen, but because something might have been there. And when the only barrier between you and the unknown is fabric stretched over poles, yeah, that vulnerability feels pretty real. The next encounter comes from the Hoggett Project, a channel typically centered around do-it-yourself builds, van life, and outdoor travel. Nothing about the channel suggests staged horror or any type of dramatics, which, as you'll see, will make this particular night stand out. The location, a secluded wooden mountain area somewhere in the US. As darkness rolls in, the camper finishes assembling a tarp shelter and spreads his gear across the ground to prevent it from sinking into the soil. Light disappears quickly under the tree canopy. Within minutes, the forest becomes a wall of black. Beyond the immediate circle of camp, visibility is essentially gone. Then comes a heavy noise from deeper in the woods. At first, it's rationalized. Logs settle, branches fall, forests are never completely silent. He mentions a distant campsite miles away, but otherwise the area feels isolated.
There's something over there.
documenting my experience and why I'm leaving. It's basically, it was all set up, it was getting dark, I had just gathered all the firewood. I had run back to the vehicle to grab my Carhartt jacket. Right about that time, as I sit down, I hear some noise, and I thought that my keys have hit the chair a certain way. And as I'm thinking about it, I'm about to go about my business, then I hear behind me where the creek is, about only 50 feet, I hear a couple more loud crunches. And that's when I stand up and I just shine the forest. Of course the noise has stopped.
The sound happens again. This time from another direction. Earlier that day, he had walked the surrounding terrain. Thick undergrowth, uneven ground, dry debris that would make quiet movement nearly impossible.
I sat there for a minute and I was just thinking, okay, do I go ahead with the fire? And I was like, I'm not scared right now, but I'm also thinking maybe I'm too close to the stream. That's going to attract animals coming to get a drink. All that said, I decided to pack up camp. I was like, I don't know if I'll have fun now. Then the other one out here, and it was really dark back in these woods. Getting all packed up, and once I get out to the road, I just take a quick look up towards where the creek is, and this is where it gets terrifying. And I thought I had pressed record, but it was not recording. But anywho, I've got my low beam on at this point. I think I see something small. Maybe it's like a raccoon or something right there by the water. And as I hit the high beam, this is when I see it. I see something standing there on the side of the road, pretending to be a statue. Whatever this was, decided it was just going to freeze, and then maybe I wouldn't think it was anything. But as I'm looking in that direction, I'm not even kidding, it looks like somebody dressed up in camo. And they've got their back slightly angled away. I'd say like at a 45 degree. They're standing there about 6 feet tall, looking like a human that I just caught that was probably sneaking up on me. That's all I can think. When I saw what it was, a human, and I kept the light on him for a good 20 solid seconds without saying anything. The fear just kind of washed over me because I'm thinking, what's going to happen? Call them out like, hey, what are you doing? And they're all camoed out. Maybe they'll just say, oh crap, he caught me. Now I'm going to shoot him. I mean, we're out in the middle of the woods. They say that people are the ones to fear. It's not the animals. seconds. He didn't move, he just kept standing there.
And that's when the shift happens. The possibility of wildlife gives way to something more deliberate. The outline he notices doesn't move like an animal. It pauses, it blends, it appears positioned. Instead of confronting it, he makes a decision. Pack up and leave. As he pulls away, he checks his mirrors repeatedly. The forest edge fades behind him. When he looks again, the figure is gone. No movement, no confirmation, just absence. By the time he's clear of the area, the weight of what almost happened settles in. Had he stayed, he would have been alone, exposed, and unaware of who was nearby, or why they were there. The most unsettling detail here isn't simply that someone was around in a remote forest at night. It's the impression that whoever was there didn't want to be seen. The camouflage, the positioning, the lack of sound despite this difficult terrain. That suggests a sinister type of awareness. And once you realize someone is watching intentionally, the situation changes completely. The wilderness stops feeling empty and starts feeling occupied. But why stay hidden, unless you were up to no good? This encounter comes from Rickles Outdoor, a UK solo camping channel centered around winter survival methods and overnight camping trips. It takes place in the public woodland in the United Kingdom, not far from an active farm. As evening settles in, Rickles prepares his winter camp. A modest fire burns steadily while he stacks wood, checks tension on his shelter, and arranges his sleeping system. He eats a simple meal as the final light drains from the tree line. The forest feels ordinary, calm, controlled. Just the subtle background sounds you'd expect from rural countryside. Then the noise begins.
Lady's voice right behind me. Jumped up. I couldn't see her. Well, I'm back in the car, knackered. Yeah, I keep hearing these voices. First of all, I thought it was a cow, it was like a moaning type sound. Okay, but then it sounded a bit odd. And then I was sitting in front of my tarp, just relaxing. I hear this like muffled sound from a woman going, like that, and I jumped up. I was like, what the hell? I was in...
A drawn-out moaning sound drifts through the trees. At first, it could pass for livestock. The nearby farm makes that explanation reasonable, but the pattern doesn't quite fit. The pitch shifts, the spacing between sounds feels irregular, and most notably, the direction is difficult to determine. It doesn't carry cleanly across the landscape the way animal calls usually do. He pauses, listens, and waits. The sound returns. Not closer, but not necessarily farther either, just present, just all around.
I wasn't sure. I was sitting there, eyes all around, and then I heard the man talking again, muffled sound. Halfway up, away from where I camped, looked back, and I could see like a glowing light, like a fire. I was looking, and there was like a white light as well next to it, like maybe a lantern or something. So I reckon it could have been just a couple camping doing the same as I'm doing, and I'm freaking out. But, you know, if I stayed now, I wouldn't got any.
After another round of the strange moaning, he makes a decision. He's out of there. No attempt to investigate, just a calculated retreat toward the vehicle. The next morning, he returns in daylight to reassess the situation. The campsite appears undisturbed, no tracks, no movement, yet faint moaning can still be heard somewhere beyond the visible tree line. Livestock can produce eerie sounds at night. Even deer during certain seasons can create vocalizations that sound almost human. But when you're alone in the woods after dark, without clear line of sight, uncertainty magnifies everything. Reflecting on it later, he confirms the decision to leave was the right one. In solo camping, especially in winter conditions, hesitation can compound risk quickly. The wilderness doesn't have to show you something tangible to shift your mindset. Sometimes all it takes is a sound you can't confidently explain, and once doubt creeps in, calm disappears with it.
Oh my god.
No, Brian.
Oh my gosh. Ozzy, no. Kira, what the fuck?
Okay, Jack, enough. Let's.
Yep, old buddy here bit off more than he could chew. You know, I was reading that only in the US do the porcupines have quills with barbs on the end that stick into the animal or person. I thought that was interesting. Anyone care to guess why?
No. Kira, what the fuck?
Okay, Jack, enough. Let's.
But you can see at the end that she's not having it. She's over this. She's not letting you get that other one.
Oh shit! Get off the flag! Holy shit.
Maybe.
You got your freaking kids out there? Lord have mercy. I mean, you need to have the gun pointed at the animal. Put the camera down.
Be quiet.
Anyhow, I don't know the backstory. I'm guessing they're not trying to trap these animals. Anyone have any idea what they are trying to trap?
Good work, baby.
One.
She doesn't know she's free yet, boys. She doesn't know she's free yet.
Back up.
Back up, boys.
Back up.
This is just a great clip. Look at the speed this thing's running. What do you guys think about this one? I hate to be like this, I just think it's all the AI that I keep seeing. I can just barely handle any Bigfoot sighting where I'm like, I don't know. Could that be? If there's any ambiguity, I'm out. Like, this could easily be AI, I guess.
This is a female. I call her Jane. That's the daughter of Seeger. And my colleague Ashley has incredible success with her. It was amazing to me. My native teacher, I initially thought this was just a male Sasquatch. My native teacher, here she is from a different angle, looked at that and said, wow, you filmed a female. Years later, I saw breasts on her, and I've seen her around, and I gauge what female Sasquatch do based on her tracks, which are the same size as the Patterson footage, and her interactions and the way she shows herself. She'll walk around a puddle, a male will blast through it. She'll make gentle, beautiful tree breaks that are precise, and a male is rugged and harsh and wants a big, giant, like egotistical.
Why don't they run away from you?
Right here, she's looking down at me. She's the last line of defense for me going into a position where I was going to get more footage.
Why did they let you get so close?
She didn't. I was moving in a ghillie suit, and I'd come, see there's snow there? I came in, I had success because it was a snowstorm so bad, you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. So I got into the snowstorm. After the snowstorm, this is the day after, they came back down the mountain.
What was supposed to be a normal night of camping turned into something none of them were prepared for. By the end of it, the forest itself looked like it had tried to erase them. Late that evening, the weather shifted fast. No warning, no gradual build-up. One moment it was manageable, and the next, the wind came screaming through the trees. Branches snapped overhead. Trunks started cracking like gunshots. Within minutes, massive trees were coming down around their campsite. 2 vehicles were suddenly boxed in, completely surrounded by dense woods with no way out. Visibility dropped to almost nothing as rain and debris filled the air. With nowhere to run, everyone piled into their cars and hoped they'd hold. One of the worst parts is that cell service barely worked. After trying and trying, they were able to get short calls out, first to family, then to emergency services. Help was on the way, they were told. The problem would be trying to get to the people. Roads were flooded, trees blocked every access point, crews couldn't reach the area. They were left waiting. Hours dragged by, the storm would ease up just long enough to give them hope, then come roaring back even harder. From inside the vehicles, they could hear distant chainsaws, sirens, and voices echoing through the darkness. Sometimes it sounded close, and then sometimes impossibly far away. Worried the windshield might give out completely, they climbed into the back seats, pressed in together with their dogs, surrounded by broken glass and ruined gear. They were all exhausted, but sleep wasn't really an option. By early morning, the wind finally died down. When daylight broke, the scale of what had happened became clear. The forest didn't look like a forest anymore. Trees were down in every direction. Campsites were crushed. Vehicles were mangled. Entire sections of the park had been flattened. Emergency responders eventually reached them on foot, climbing over logs and unstable ground. The group was guided out slowly, crawling, lifting their dogs, helping one another over debris. At a temporary shelter, they were met by medical teams, the police, and Red Cross volunteers who provided food, clothing, and a place to rest. Investigators later confirmed what it appeared to be. A tornado had torn straight through the area overnight. Their vehicles were totaled. All of their equipment was ruined. Nearly everything they brought with them was destroyed. However, they didn't lose their lives. And honestly, that's the part that sticks with me. Yeah, nature interrupted their trip, basically rewriting the entire landscape in a few hours. But they lived to tell the story, and that's really all that matters. Okay, this next clip I'm going to show you is crazy. Watch this. Watch it. Back in the spring of 2006, a group of campers were set up for the night when the weather at the park took a sudden turn.
Oh, damn, it's happening! It's happening!
Dark clouds rolled in fast, and before anyone could react, the storm was on top of them. A tornado touched down somewhere nearby, and what did hit them was something just as dangerous. The storm unleashed a barrage of heavy hail, not small pellets either. These were solid chunks of ice slamming into tents with enough force to make everyone duck for cover. One of the campers pointed out strangely through all of it, the wind, the hail, the chaos. The campfire never went out. When the storm finally passed, they came out and the ground was littered with massive hailstones all across the campsite like debris from an explosion. Looking at their size, it became pretty obvious how bad this could have been. I mean, a direct hit from one of those could have caused some serious damage if you got hit in the wrong place. So even though the tornado ultimately missed them, the collateral damage can mess you up pretty good too. On October 8th, 2025, Kevin, the guy behind the YouTube channel Small Plots, headed out expecting another routine camp video. This guy's camped every style you can even imagine. Tarp, tent, rain, hammock, shine, he just adjusts and keep going. The part I like most is that Kevin isn't a spooky story person. He doesn't buy into ghosts, paranormal energy, or anything he can't actually hear or see. I find that's what makes him confident, maybe a little too confident, but that's okay. On this trip, he chose a site right beside one of upstate New York's most infamous locations, Mount Hope Cemetery in Rochester, a massive burial ground said to hold over 350,000 souls. Well, that decision turned the night into a real test. Between odd animal sounds and unsettling noises that seemed to circle his tent, it became a trip he would never forget. He began by scouting a patch of woods just beyond the cemetery's edge. He figured he'd be far enough out to stay unnoticed, but close enough to just close enough.
Oh yeah. There's graves. There are the graves. The leaves are so crunchy. It's gonna give me away, if anything. Okay, so the cemetery is directly behind where the camera is. I think I'm gonna move a little bit this way. Looks like some nice flat ground, kind of encapsulated by trees and branches and stuff. And that should be good. I should be out of view from the cemetery. There's a tennis court area right over here. I'll show you guys in a minute. Of course, the break area for the workmen that work here, and the road.
At first glance, the spot looked ideal. Flat ground, tucked off the road, where the loudest thing should have been wind in the branches and some running water from a creek in the dark. But Kevin wasn't satisfied. No, he wanted closer. So he packed everything up and again pushed deeper into the trees. When he finally pitched his tent, he was only a few dozen yards from Mount Hope's old stone boundary. Close enough to make most people feel a little weird. Earlier, he'd noticed a couple walkers nearby, but now it was just him, alone, with that heavy cemetery presence behind the brush. Well, that's when the sound started. First, they were distant, easy to ignore. But as the light faded, they got louder. Some were normal, tiny animals and dry leaves, but others didn't fit.
The deer are creeping on me right now. I can hear on top of the deer and the chipmunks and the squirrels and probably like mice and stuff. It's just leaves moving constantly around me. I hope that kind of slows down tonight. Probably not. Right behind me you can see the cemetery behind me in the tent, and then right kind of in the brush are looks like three deer that are apprehensively looking at me and chewing their cud. who's a walker and who's just someone who works here doing the nightly rounds, you know, making sure nobody's sleeping in the woods. Damn, these freaking chipmunks. They're just like hanging out behind me. Talking about rabbits. All that leaf rustling are like chipmunks and stuff running around.
At some point, it hit Kevin that he hadn't seen another camper all evening. No tents, no fires, no voices, nothing. Just him and thousands of headstones sitting silent beyond the tree line. Still, he wanted to finish what he started. But when night settled in and he cooked dinner, the whole thing felt less like comfort and more like a last calm moment. Because right after he ate, the noises returned. Closer now. A twig snapped, then a gunshot, then another, then more, crackling through the trees and echoing hard out into the darkness.
I wish I could get more footage of the cemetery and everything, but even despite the fact that it's like 1 day away, maybe gunshot, despite the fact that it was 1 day away, that it's 1 day away from a full moon, it's too dark to film. Yeah, well, like I said, middle of the city, so I can't get the graveyard like I was hoping. I'm trying so hard to catch the almost full moon good enough to hit some gravestones or something, but yeah, and it's tough. I can't really leave and go walk around the graveyard as much as I'm sure people are probably hoping that I'm doing that. It's just not really, especially with that camera right there. Can't really do that. It's kind of like a journey to get there, if I'm being honest. It's not like just a bloop over. Okay. Yeah, see, so I've been quiet for so long, but now I have a light on and I'm talking, and little animals that are around me are like, hey, there's a guy there. They're not ghosts. Let me just clear this up right now. They're not ghosts. They're like little mice and rats and whatever.
To keep himself steady, he started talking to the camera. You can hear that forced calm, like he's trying to keep his heartbeat from showing. After all, it was the night before a full moon, and the air felt sharp, almost charged. He reminded himself, city cemetery, not a horror movie. Then he heard footsteps grinding through the leaves, too close to him. He tried to joke it off. Maybe a deer, yeah, maybe a raccoon. But you could tell he wasn't buying it. And then from the cemetery side, more sounds drifted in, muffled and distant, but clearly human. He didn't go investigate, he just sat there, telling himself it was nothing, that his nerves were amplifying everything. But the longer he stayed by that fire, the more he felt watched. And not by one set of eyes, he sensed several.
Something walking closer to me. It's probably a deer, but I'm gonna do something just in case it's not. Okay, it stopped walking, whatever it was. It didn't run away. I'm just gonna go with it. It's a deer. Oh man, I thought that was a deer's butt at first. Before I zoomed in, I thought that was a deer facing the other way. Yeah, well, this is what it's like here, next to the cemetery. You know, it's pretty chill. A lot of cool chill things happening. Just like Mondo chill, you know? I know you can't really see it. There's something in the cemetery making like a, I know this is gonna sound stupid, but like a bone clattering sound. Like tick, 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 tick. Like somebody has like a bunch of sticks in a wagon or something.
Eventually, Kevin decided he'd had enough. He zipped up inside the tent, buttoned everything down, and just listened. And that's when it really got going. The woods seemed to shift around him. More steps, circling. He didn't sleep. He couldn't. He laid there until dawn, barely moving, waiting for whatever was out there to make its next move. When morning finally came, he wasn't hurt, but he looked drained, pale, tense, rattled. That night near Mount Hope changed him. Sometimes it's not the dead that gets to you, it's the quiet they leave behind. He never has camped there ever again. In August, a video surfaced on the YouTube channel named What in the World? The channel, run by Tom, an outdoor explorer known for documenting his solo adventures across Canada, as he takes on mountain ranges, winding rivers, remote lakes, and untouched wilderness. Tom set out to canoe across Canada. He'd started at the Rocky Mountains and planned a long journey downriver toward Montreal. As he paddled, he took in the scenery, letting the quiet guide his thoughts as he considered where he might camp next. Then the calm was broken. A sudden sound cut through the silence, sharp and unmistakable. The high-pitched whimper of a dog echoed faintly from the riverbank. Tom stopped immediately, scanning the shoreline. Following the sound, he came upon a disturbing sight. A dog was trapped beneath a partially submerged log, its body stuck in thick mud.
There's a dog here. Doesn't look very well. Puppy. Maybe he's stuck. You okay? He doesn't look okay. Can't see anyone, there's no tracks. See if I can help him. He seems to be crying. You okay, buddy? Oh, buddy, how long you been here? Are you stuck? Are you stuck? Just log on you or something. Okay, the log's not on you anymore. Are you okay? What's wrong? Talk to me. Can you come? Come on. Can you move? Can you move, buddy? You've been here a long time. You in any pain? You okay, buddy?
Its back legs were pinned, unable to move, and the fear was clearly visible in its eyes. I mean, this is really incredible. The odds of finding this animal in this area, to say the least, are low. Even in the video, you can barely see the dog. Yet there it is, helpless and alone, far from any visible signs of people or nearby camps. Without hesitation, Tom pushed the log aside and carefully stepped into the shallow water to free the dog. His heart raced, not from fear, but from concern, as it became clear the animal couldn't move on its own. With no help nearby, Tom made a quick decision. He gently lifted the dog onto his canoe, doing everything he could to avoid causing further harm. As they floated downstream, the minutes dragged by. The dog whimpered softly, and Tom worried it might be a stray with no owner waiting ahead. There might not be anyone looking for this dog. Finally, Tom spotted a house along the riverbank and guided the canoe toward the dog.
It's okay. Lie down. And I was clean as well. But it's okay. He might have been there quite a while. And my hope that he belongs to the house down here. And if he's not their dog, then I'll have to make some phone calls and see what we can do. The dog was barking while I was coming past, but it didn't know that I was there, and it was barking in such a way that it had lost its voice. So he or she had been barking for a long time and can't bark anymore. So there's a dock here in front of me,
and there's a house just up from it. So, and this is only about 200 meters from where the dog was stuck. So I'm hoping that this house is its owner, or at least they know his owner.
The dog, exhausted but alive, leaned against him, trusting him completely. When Tom rang the doorbell, the homeowner was stunned. The dog, a 14-year-old named Ivy, had been missing for 2 days. The entire family had feared the worst. That's a long time for an older dog to survive out in the wilderness by itself. But thanks to Tom's quick thinking, she was alive. Relief washed over everyone as Ivy wagged her tail weakly, and the gratitude from her owners was undeniable.
Hello, how are you? Hey, I'm just canoeing. I'm canoeing across Canada.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just canoeing past and I saw a dog that's been stuck in the mud.
Oh, no. Is it live still?
Yeah. I was wondering, is it your dog?
Yeah, probably a white one.
Yeah.
Oh.
It looks like he's been there a long...
Looking for her for a long time.
It looks like he's been there a long time.
Where is she?
I dragged him out of the... I don't know if it's a girl. Is it girl?
Oh,
I dragged her out of the mud and put her on my canoe. And I brought her here on your dock.
Thanks, because I've been looking for her, and I looked down there, too.
She's a nice dog. I was worried at the beginning.
She's 14 years old.
Oh, she can't move her back legs very well. I don't know if that was normal.
No.
But I had to move a log that was on the back of her.
Oh.
She was in the water, half in the water, half on the mud.
Jeez.
And
I looked all over for her. She's been gone 2 days.
It looks like she's been there a while.
Is she
She's okay.
Oh.
She was barking when I came past, but it looked like she's
looking for her. How far is she? Was she right by the dock?
No. She was a few hundred.
She's down there.
A few hundred meters up there, and your dock was just the next.
Why I couldn't find her.
Your dock was the next one, so that's why I just came straight here.
Oh man. Thank you. Oh. Well, better give her a bath, eh? What were you doing going in there, you silly old dog?
Now, this encounter, it's not super scary, it's not supernatural, but it's a powerful reminder of how unpredictable the wilderness can be. Even close to your home, unexpected things can happen. Moments that demand action and compassion. Tom's decision turned what could have been a tragedy into a story of hope, proving that sometimes the most unsettling situations can end in the most human way possible. She wasn't woken up by her alarm. She was woken up by the sound of something moving all around her tent. A woman had been camping all alone in the woods with her dog when the noise started. It wasn't just one animal passing through. It was coming from multiple directions, close enough that she immediately sat up and froze. Her dog picked up on it too, alert, tense, listening. It wasn't even barking, it was trying to figure out what was going on. The creepiest part is that whatever was out there wasn't rushing or panicking. The movement sounded coordinated, almost like a group circling or passing through together. She tried to stay still, she didn't reach for anything, she didn't try to scare them off. She and her dog stayed perfectly still, which is really telling. Only once the forest settled back into silence did it feel safe enough to move. When they finally left, it was quiet. Too quiet. Like whatever had been there had scared everything away in the general area. It's hard to say who or what was responsible. The group behavior points towards something social, possibly coyotes moving together or even foxes traveling through the area.
You can go with.
Following me. Up the top there. You see kind of just see the hand picture. Yeah. Fighting with each other. He's got him by the tail. Check the tail.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, look at that.
There's a territorial fight. Yeah.
Oh, he's running.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yes, he's got that crook in his grip, eh? Yeah.
That's amazing.
That was crazy, yeah.
This story comes from the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organization. Give them a follow as they pump out amazing content. Back in September of 1973, a hunting trip into Idaho's Lochsaw Wilderness turned into something none of the men involved ever forgot. At the center of it all weren't footprints or sightings at first, it was horses. This group wasn't made up of inexperienced campers. These were lifelong hunters and ranchers who relied on horses deep in the mountains. And one thing they knew their animals well, especially which behaviors meant danger and which didn't. Bears, cougars, dangerous people. Close encounters with predators were normal out there. The horses had dealt with it all before. That's why what happened stood out immediately. One morning, two hunters rode out at first light after an overnight snowfall. The forest was unusually quiet, too quiet. As they approached a wide open area near Surprise Creek Canyon, both horses suddenly became agitated. Not curious, not alert, they were terrified. They snorted, refused to move forward, and had to be spurred just to keep walking. Behavior their riders had never seen from them before. Then they crossed the tracks. The snow was pristine, perfect for holding detail, and what lay ahead wasn't anything either man could identify. The impressions were massive, roughly 1.5 feet long, set in a straight bipedal stride with no drag marks. Whatever made them was walking upright, confidently, and recently. That was enough. The moment the horses crossed those tracks, they bolted. Not a spook, they didn't stumble. This was a full-on sprint that they didn't stop for nearly a mile. Now, seasoned mountain horses don't do that without a reason. They thought this was over, but the most disturbing part came the next day. Another pair of hunters encountered two men packing up camp early. Men who had drawn a once-in-a-lifetime bighorn sheep tag and were abandoning it without hesitation. Their gear was half missing, their horses were barely under control, and they looked like they hadn't slept. They admitted the night before had gone bad fast. First, the horses became restless after dark. Then the sound started. Deep, primal screams echoing through the canyon. Not coyotes, not animal calls, something louder, lower, and deliberate. Whoops, whooping sounds that carried across the valley. Before they knew it, rocks and branches began slamming into their tent. Out of nowhere, and remember, these guys are seasoned hunters and horseback riders. Their horses had broken loose and ran. Now, they're not sure if they were let loose or if they broke loose, but regardless, they ran. The men fired warning shots into the air, not aiming at anything, just trying to make whatever was out there back off. Eventually, the screaming stopped. The horses returned near dawn, and the hunters didn't wait. They grabbed what they could find and fled the wilderness, leaving behind equipment, supplies, and a tag most hunters would never give up under normal circumstances. Now, as you guys know, taken on its own, screaming in the woods can be sometimes explained. Animals, foxes, elk, even mountain lions can produce unsettling sounds. But those animals don't coordinate harassment. They don't throw stuff, and they don't cause trained horses to panic so completely that multiple groups abandon camp. And yes, horses are prey animals. So they attract predators, but they're also extremely perceptive. They have very keen senses, and when horses react like that, especially ones proven calm around known predators, it suggests something unfamiliar, something they don't recognize as part of their everyday world. Now, unfortunately, no photos were taken, there was no official report filed, just men who quietly left and never returned. Unfortunately for us, sometimes in places that remote, that's all you get. But I'd love to know, what would you have done? Would you have stayed? Is this enough to make you pack up and disappear? And what do you think about the horses' reactions? I mean, that's probably the most telling part to me. Anyhow, curious as to your thoughts.